Okay, welcome back. We're talking about how Hollywood often gets all this all wrong. Basically, if someone says, I think we need to do a honeypot, I would contact the legal department first. Okay, that's what I would recommend. Then they have what called active intrusion detection, like called La Brea, a sticky honeypot. Don't get these terms all crazy. Basically, holds the session open, so you have more time. Or when the caller disconnects, you just don't hang up. Right? In the old days, uh, this was a technique the police would do. Like they would call you on the phone, and you'd pick up the phone and say, "Hey," and they'd say, "Well, I'm from the police department," and so you think, "Holy moly!" So you would hang up, and then immediately pick up the phone so you could call your accomplice, and they're still on the phone. So they kind of know that you panicked immediately. Cool trick, by the way. That's basically what that is. So scanning and analysis tools, page 370. So a necessary first step as a new security person, get permission to do this first, okay? So fingerprinting, finding useful information about a host. For example, I often talk about this little application that does the reconnaissance run. So I'm just going to run this guy, and it's going to collect data about my machine and give me a detailed report of absolutely everything I would ever want to know about, like how many patches do I have? Am I missing a patch? Everything, all the software installed, all the version numbers, everything. So I could just walk in with a thumb drive with this application on there, walk up to any machine like in the lobby, run this, save the data, and walk away, and then spend some time looking through it to see, aha, I see you've got this, and this. You've got an old version of Adobe Acrobat. I bet I can break that. Port scanners. So scanning the network for open ports. There's an awful lot of software out there. Again, get permission and let people know, because this is gonna trip the edge, right? Nmap. Nmap is basically a network mapping software. It's pretty doggone cool. Please don't run this like at the university without any permissions. So the purpose of port scanners is to reduce the attack surface. For example, if you're not using this one particular server over here for any web activity whatsoever, but you just left it installed, well, then turn it off. If you're not using it, turn off the web services, turn off that port to reduce the amount of time people can do attack. Firewall analysis tools, yes, again, if you're going to do a firewall test, it's going to set off some alarms. So you're a good guy working for the organization, and you want to do a firewall test to see what it can and can't do, right? Whew. Anyways, the whole idea is to find out if it's configured correctly. There's one out there called Shields Up. It's getting kind of old, but it's really sufficient for like home-based things, right? If you want to check to see, it's going to try different ports and find out, what ports are open. Firewall, that's a good one. Where and how firewall exists. It'll actually kind of sort of tell you, okay, this is before this or after that. HPing, basically find out what's inside the DMZ. What all is in there. I won't be able to use this scanning from the outside. I won't be able to see what's inside, but I can definitely enumerate all the things that are inside your DMZ. Operating system detection, fingerprinting. There's one called X-Probe that'll basically hit a machine, and based upon its response, you can say, aha, that's a Windows machine, or that's an Apple machine, or that's a Linux machine, that kind of stuff. In this particular case, I tell them I'm using Windows 11 Pro for workstations, whatever that is. And then vulnerability. Obviously, for example, I can go down to here and see all of these updates. And if I'm missing an update, well, then I know I've got a vulnerability. So how the heck do you find out if all the PCs on your LAN are properly configured? All they have updates. Well, there's a couple of them out there. You could use this one. This one's free. But Nessus has been out there for quite some time. It can even do a destructive test. Don't. A Metasploit, again, this is a disk that you download, right? It's a hacker tool, and I guarantee this will set off alarms. But you can put it in and then run it and then find out, what machines are wide open out there. It makes more sense to use like, a company branded, like, like the same company you get your virus software from. You have a corporate version of this that can keep, Microsoft has a real cool, they can do the whole thing. Everything in Active Directory can be posted. Anyway, a passive vulnerability, just monitoring things doesn't really require, permission to do that. And then packet sniffers. Okay, so up to this point, we're talking about just collecting, what's called ephemeral data, where I can see in the phone call scenario, I can see what number called what number, what time of day, and the duration. Okay, I can't see what happened. Same thing. Now, packet sniffers basically takes it one step further, where I can see what's inside. Okay, well, not HTTPS, but other types of traffic, I can see exactly what's going on. So, Wireshark is the one that practically everyone uses. I mean, it's been around for quite some time. This is just what it would look like. And so if I'm running Wireshark on my own PC, monitoring only the traffic going to and from my PC, then most likely this will not set off any alarms. But if you were to plug into a monitoring port and then doing this and you're seeing everyone else's traffic, well, that's a little different story. And then from the wireless point of view, there's an awful lot of them out there. There's air crack. If you just go to YouTube and type air crack demo, you'll get tons and tons of people sitting in a coffee shop, breaking things. Basically a WPA2 connection where you can hit you can send a disconnect signal, and every machine will reestablish its connection. Then you get to see, the 3-point handshake. That was the thing we did in Chapter 8. WPA3, they can't do that on. Okay, so we made it through the end of this chapter, and so stay tuned for the next chapter.